Prime Minister, what do you think of Mr. Poilievre not getting the security briefing?
Elizabeth May took on her responsibilities as party leader, got her security clearance, and did the work. Mr. Poilievre should do that too. He is choosing ignorance so he can play partisan politics, and he's not doing that. Le fait que Elizabeth May a eu sa cote de sécurité, a choisi de faire le travail et entreprendre ses responsabilités en tant que leader d'un parti politique, démontre ce que M. Poilievre devrait faire. Il devrait prendre ça au sérieux, il devrait aller chercher sa cote de sécurité et devrait pouvoir faire le travail nécessaire pour prendre cette situation.
Est-ce que notre allié
MPs won't run?
Following up on reports that Israel has been leading state sponsorship foreign interference in Canada, riling up Islamophobia, attacks against Canadians and so on. Do you have any knowledge of that? Do you have any thoughts on the matter? Just asking.
No, I don't, except for what I've read in the news. I mean, the fact is that we are seeing an increased rates of hatred right now in Canada, whether it's towards Muslims or towards members of the Jewish community. Both are unacceptable. And when we're seeing any increase in violence, whether it's firebombing of synagogues or ripping off a woman's hijab while she's protesting peacefully, that's not the Canada we know. And we need to work extremely hard to ensure that everyone is safe in our country. And I think that's the big task ahead of us.
Does it feel like everything that's going on feels a little more organized, a little more goosed up this time versus what's happened in the past? It just seems like the temperature's been turned up by somebody.
Temperature's up, absolutely, and I think social media has a big role to play in it. I really do believe that people's emotions are really, really high, and look, as Canadians, we come from different parts of the world, and we have strong feelings about what's happening around the world, and that's totally fine. But we also have worked really hard in this country to live in a way that is harmonious, is respectful for each other, is inclusive in nature. That's hard work that we have done. I worry every single day a breakdown in that inclusivity, in that harmony. And I keep urging people I meet, whether in my community here in Ottawa Centre or around the province of the country, is that let's take the time to hear the other side. Let's make sure that we are finding ways to work together, because as Canadians, we have a far better impact on issues around the world if we maintain the harmony that we have built intact. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I've got to ask you about Israel foreign interference, that the reports that Israel is putting together foreign interference that's been causing hate towards Muslims in Canada. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on the matter.
I haven't read the report, but any form of foreign interference is not right, and it's important that we take measures against it. We have seen increase in Islamophobia here in Canada, and so many incidents, and we just completed 3 committee meetings in the Justice Committee. I was part of that on Islamophobia, and we have heard about the statistics. It's alarming. What happened in London over the weekend, that community has gone through a lot. So it's really very important that we tackle and make sure that we put an end to all forms of hate.
Does it feel like it's state-sponsored, whether it's Israel, whether it's something, the level of organization, the level of permutation? You know.
I can't really say that. I'm not privy to that information. I really don't know.
Can I ask you what you think the fact Conservatives are voting against the motion gains on capital? Sorry, I'm looking for my words in English.
Tax fairness is important, and I think I represent a riding where a lot of middle-class Canadians are finding it difficult to make their ends meet. So it's important that we support programs like $10 a day childcare, Canada Child Benefit. So these programs are helping the community, and I hope we can continue with these programs. Thank you.
Are you concerned about the government of Israel creating foreign interference and creating hatred among Canadians by riling people up with their hate?
Of course, I'm always concerned about foreign interference. It's been an important topic of discussion these days in the House of Commons and elsewhere, regardless of the country that's performing that interference and that influence over Canadians. I'm very, very concerned, and this is something that we need to stay pressed on and make sure that we're being very mindful of the information that we're consuming and where we're getting our our information from these days.
I'm just asking because Milton is known for its strong Muslim population, and foreign interference has been coming in all sorts of things, and Israel has been named as one of the factors that's riling up anti-Islamophobia, anti-hatred against because of the conflict. So.
Yeah. No, Milton has a very large and diverse Muslim community, and I'll say that I've hosted probably about 30 roundtables and group discussions on the Middle East and the ongoing siege of Gaza, and certainly with the attacks on Rafah, it was even more acute in my community. So these are issues and concerns that I'll continue to stay pressed on and focus on my community. My job, first and foremost, is not to come to my own conclusions on how I think or feel about certain things. It's to make sure that my community feels heard. And I'll tell you that over the last 7 or 8 months, those conversations have helped me in my work as a member of Parliament here in ensuring that those voices are amplified.
I have a question about Elizabeth May came out today. She read the unredacted report from NSICOP and kind of said there are no MPs that have been named that are disloyal to Canada. There's no secret list. Why couldn't the government come out and say that to reassure Canadians?
I can't comment. I haven't had the time to read the document. So I feel completely unprepared to comment on that.
Also, do you think the fact that Conservatives are going to vote against the motion on the capital gain?
Well, they're demonstrating clearly, like time and time again, that they're here to stand up for big oil and gas execs. They're here for grocery execs. They don't actually care about affordability. They don't care about our institutions. They're standing up against our measures for tax fairness. Look, I represent a very young riding as well. A lot of people under 18 in my riding who feel as though wealth inequality has grown in our country, and look, it has. The inclusion rate for capital gains has changed 4, 5, 6 times over the last 40 years, and it's currently the lowest it's ever been. So moving it towards a place where dollars are taxed regardless if they're realized through a capital gains benefit or the sale of a secondary residence, which is almost entirely and almost always an investment property. Canada has a very, very low marginal effective tax rate, and what's happened since the capital gains changes were brought down to 50% is that wealth inequality has grown in Canada. So we're addressing that, and I'm proud of the government for doing it. Sometimes the most popular thing isn't always the right thing to do, and in this case I feel like this is the right thing to do for Canadians, for future generations, so that we can continue to build the homes and invest in healthcare and do all the things that Canadians expect us to do.
To stop the hate, have you reached out to Ms. Joly and others in the cabinet to try and reduce the amount of hatred that I believe you were talking about that's going on with the community in your riding?
Oh, I've chatted with every minister implicated and lots of different community leaders too. I don't want to, suggest that I've only ever talked to Muslim leaders, because it's a majority diaspora community in my riding. But I've gone down to the synagogue in Oakville and I've met with Jewish leaders as well, and responded to a lot of emails and phone calls from various people who are extremely concerned. My first priority is always with my community and the safety of Canadians. It's something that I think we can have an impact on, we can influence, we can make sure that we're standing up and making sure that we're doing everything that we can to keep Canadians safe. I'm confident that we're doing the right thing as Canada. I think Canada really punches above its weight in terms of influence on the global stage. For a country of 41 million people, I think we do a pretty good job for standing up for what's right. So, thanks. Cheers. Thank you.
Riling up racial hatreds in this country, that the government of Israel is running disinformation campaigns in this country?
Well, I think we should be concerned about disinformation campaigns from any foreign states. As we know that foreign interference is a real problem here in Canada, and so no matter what country or what state this might be occurring from, we should all be concerned.
Ms. May says that there is no list of MPs to release. It seems like the NSICOP report, while strong, is perhaps a bit overblown right now in politics, that she's read the report and it seems like there's no present MPs that are listed.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the documents, so I have no way to really comment about it. What I do know is what I've been able to see from the NSICOP report, and the concerns that they've raised is alarming, it's shocking to me. And the reality remains this, is that all 338 members of parliament now has a cloud hanging over their heads. That is the reality. And so I do think that we need to take the issue seriously. We do need to get to the bottom of it. And, you know, the Prime Minister know who these individuals are, have known for some time, in fact, close to about a year, and no action was taken. There's a real question as to why not. And the other thing that I should point out, with the motion that the Bloc had moved yesterday, which the NDP intends to support. But there also is a question with respect to not just these two last parliaments. The NSICOP report does refer to former members of parliament. And so from that perspective, I actually think that we need to expand the scope and to ensure that the Commissioner Hogue, has access to all unredacted documents, including cabinet documents.
It mentions the actions of China and other countries trying to influence the media in this country. Do you have any thoughts on that, or any examples or concerns?
I definitely have concerns with respect to that, and that's something that I know the Commissioner is intending to focus in on in his second phase as well, more broadly on the issues around the impact for the diaspora community, and that would include, I think, media as well. And so, you know, foreign interference is occurring in a variety of different formats. The NSICOP report has indicated that it is actually sophisticated, complex, and, you know, if we want to protect Canada's democratic institutions and processes, we need to look at all these issues seriously, whether it's proxies, whether influencing the media, whether it's members of parliament, the Senate, staffer, even, you know, all of it needs to be taken seriously, and we need to put all the measures in place to counter foreign interference.
Why your leader hasn't read the report yet?
I suspect there's probably a scheduling question. I don't know his schedule, so I can't really comment about that. But I know that Jagmeet, right off the top, had indicated that he intends to do so, and I fully expect that he will at his first opportunity.
And just for precision on media, do you see this as a problem within the mainstream media or within certain linguistic media outlets or regional media? Do you have any thoughts on that? We're just trying to drill down and make sure we uncover every stone.
Well, I would suspect that it could be with perhaps different media outlets. Most definitely, I think there are questions around linguistic media that we should be concerned about. And so, you know, media and journalistic integrity and independence is paramount, and it should not and cannot be subject to foreign states' influence in terms of what's being reported. We know that that's happening not just in traditional media, but also in social media as well. So there are different platforms that are being used. So, for example, I know for one, with WeChat as an example, there was a point in time where I did use WeChat, and then later on I discovered that I was being censored by WeChat. And so, you know, from that perspective, and I thought I'd be damned if I'm going to be censored by a foreign state. So I stopped using WeChat. We know that social media is a weak point, if you will, or is a platform to which foreign states often try to manipulate, and so we need to address that as well.
Just wondering, Elizabeth May, sorry if I'm jumping in here and you've already addressed this.
Right.
Elizabeth May came out, she had a press conference today, she's read the full NSICOP report, and she's saying, you know, there is no list of names of MPs who have betrayed the country. What do you think of the fact that Elizabeth May is coming out and kind of saying, in large part, that she's pretty relieved about what she read in terms of the unredacted report?
Well, all I can do is speak from my own perspective, and that is that I have not seen the report, I have not seen the information, I have not seen the unredacted documents from NSICOP, I have not seen the unredacted documents before Cabinet, to which as a member who is faced with targeting by the Chinese Communist Party as an evergreen target and as a as someone who's got party standing at the Commission, I would like to see those documents and judge for myself to have that confidence that, in fact, these are not issues of concern. What I do know is that in reading the NSICOP report, there is just such an alarming set of information there.
The public report, you mean?
That the public report, the NSICOP report that has been provided to all of us, what I do know in reading that and the allegations to me is shocking and is insidious, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Your leader has said that he's going to, take the briefing. As a member of Parliament, is there anything else? Can you get access to the full report?
I am looking at different options to see what else could be done. And so, for one, I know that my leader, Jagmeet, was right out of the gate to say that he will, in fact, undertake the briefing to get that information. But I will look at other options to see how I may be able to try and get access to that.
Why do you want to see it in black and white?
Well, because, there's a cloud over all of us. Members of Parliament, all 338 of us, and particularly those of us who are from the diaspora community are particularly, I think, vulnerable at risk here. I'm also someone who's been identified as an evergreen target by China and the CCP. I would like to see this information for myself. I want to know how deep is this foreign interference activities that are going on in this country. What action is the government taking? When did they know about it, and what will we do to stop this? We have to send a very clear message to all foreign interference actors, to all foreign states, that Canada will not just sit by and tolerate this. We will not accept it, and we will do everything we can to stop it. So as a parliamentarian, I feel very strongly about it. As a member of the diaspora community, I feel very strongly about it. I would like to see the content for myself and to judge for myself.
If your leader were to read the report and come away with similar conclusions to Elizabeth May, who has said, we can all take a beat, there's no names, nothing suggests disloyalty to Canada, that wouldn't be enough for you. You want to see it for yourself.
Well, I trust the word of my leader, absolutely, but I'm also an independent thinker. That's why I got to this place, and my mom taught me to always think for yourself, and that's what I would like to do.
Mr. Aria, what do you think about the foreign interference report? Mr. Aria.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Aria.